For this video, I thought I'd show some VHS cartridges I've come across over the years. Second-hand stores, flea markets, and free boxes outside of flea markets and second-hand stores. And that's a standard VHS here. The older VHS, this is how they were apparently. At least in this particular movie was made. It was put into this package, and when I saw this I thought maybe, oh, it's a bunch of cassettes with the story on it, because this is the usual size that it is, because usually they're not as big as this. But as it turns out, this is a VHS. It says so on the side here. There's a little window for it. It opens up in a neat way. It says color 1973. Maybe that's a VHS copy or the movie itself, I don't know. I was too young to watch this when it first came out. But the cartridge looks very heavy when you hold it in your hands. The clear window is stronger than the latest VHS tapes are being sold. And the screws over here are silver in color. There we are. I don't know why I'm having problems to focus here with this camera. That's there we are. So it's very interesting. This is the way it was made. I don't know why there's a hole there. So it was recorded in mono, and the sound sounds like it was recorded too loud. It sounds like it was over-amplified. So in later years, movies sometimes were put on these cartridges. The screws are black. They're just as strong. There isn't much written there on that cartridge. But it depends, what movie it was, I guess. A TV episode of this, and you can tell the plastic is a little lighter, maybe lower cost, not as heavy, that's for sure. And the same thing with this one here. The plastic is a bit softer, and it's made. This box is made for children. It's larger. You can identify that it's made for kids because it's larger, and presumably if you drop it, it's more likely to survive than the other ones I've shown, except for maybe the very thick one, very heavy here. The plastic is much thicker. Maybe it might survive, I don't know. There's a 9-hour Maxell cartridge. That's kind of long. It came out in later years, because I don't remember seeing it before I was seeing 2 hours, 5 hours, or maybe 6 hours, maybe 8 hours, but then later on it came up with 9 hours. This is after they had already come out with 10 hours. Now this is there we go, Maxell 10-hour tape, and a BSF 10-hour tape. I prefer this one. It seemed like I can use this over and over again, and the picture is always the same. But when you first use these ones, in my opinion, sometimes coating comes off the tape, and for the first few passes it makes the heads full of magnetic particles, or maybe tape. The tape itself starts to shed a bit, but later on it plays normally. Now I don't know, it doesn't seem to be opening here. I'm holding the camcorder, but anyways, inside here there's BASF, and I don't know if I put the right cartridge in the right box, but that's how the box looked like. And I thought this was the longest of tape that you can get. It's 10 hours. And there's the specification here. So you get 10 hours at the slower speed, or you get 6 hours and 40 minutes at the LP speed. And latest VCRs are being sold do not have the LP speed to record on, but they can play it. But you just don't. You just can't record an LP with those VCRs. And at a higher speed, you get 3 hours and 20 minutes. Now I thought this would be the longest VHS tape that's available until I came across this one here. So this is a Pro Surveillance 210. So this is like 10 hours and 10 minutes, I think. Let's see if it actually says so here. 3 hours, yeah. Well, 10 hours and maybe 5 minutes, if I'm reading this correctly. Anyways, it looks like they probably did the best they could get. The best coating for the magnetic particles and the best tape. The cartridge itself, it got mixed up in a different box. Basically, it looks the same. The reels on this tape, they look different in that they are open in several places. That's what I remember it looks like. Do I have any tapes over here to show that? Well, I don't seem to have any. Well, anyways, you just have to imagine that there's lots of open areas, and there's only a few places where there's actually some plastic covering the tape. I don't know why that is. And it's constructed pretty well, and it plays pretty well, and I can, record over and over again. Just for fun, I had bought this because I said, wow, that's the longest tape there is. Now, I wish I had the cartridge to videotape it, but I don't have it with me right now. And the other cartridges I came across with was this one. The reels are larger because the manufacturer figured that because there is little tape in it, we can make the reels larger. And for a VCR, sometimes it looks at the time, it sort of gets a bit confused as to what time it is and how much time there is left for playing or how to rewind. It doesn't seem to cause any issues, but I don't know if there's any advantages to making the reels larger as opposed to having all of them small reels and just put the tape on. There's another one over here. This is a head cleaning tape. The reels are larger. Here, another one. The reels are larger, and they just look a bit different. But there is something else. There is this little tab over here and a little tab here. And apparently there are no screws underneath here, where normally you'd have screws to open the cartridge. There are no screws for this cartridge. And here's funny VHS tape. It's actually a head cleaning tape. And there's no lock mechanism here to lock this into place. It's very cheaply made, and the reels are black instead of the usual white, because most cartridges I've seen are white. No, this one's black, and you could see on that side there. Oh, there's something red there. But it's basically some VCRs don't like playing these, and I don't like it either because it's not as soft as tape itself. I mean, it has to be slightly harder to remove dirt. So I just have that just because it looks different. There's another VHS cartridge with the head cleaning tape. There's cleaning fluid that goes into, just store it in there. Now these reels are actually blue. It's the first time I see blue reels. I didn't realize it until just now. Yeah, so I must have picked this up because it's blue. I've seen ones that are green. I think it's on the movie E.T. When E.T. came out on VHS, the reels were green, or at least maybe the flaps were green, because I've seen those. So here's another head cleaning tape. Now here's an interesting tape here. This cartridge does not have windows to show what's on it, and it is not a head cleaning tape. It's actually an advertisement that was sent through the mail with a newspaper that you received at your door, or they were delivered door to door. So we got this free, and it's 27 minutes. The tape is 27 minutes long, but it's only about 25 minutes of programming on it, and no windows. The wheels are black. I'm assuming there are screws there, I don't know. And this was recorded at a slower speed, the extended play, or the super low speed, I think it's called. So that's interesting, so I kept that. It plays. Cheaper VCRs, or sometimes very new VCRs, have trouble tracking these, because they shouldn't be, but sometimes they do. The ones I have don't appear to. There's some slight distortion in the audio. It looks like they tried to push the high frequencies onto the tape, and because it wasn't recorded at a faster speed, there's some distortion on the audio. But other than that, it looks okay. I've come across other VHS tapes that have old movies, old TV episodes from the 50s or 40s, where they released them on VHS at a slower speed, or some of them are recorded at the LP speed. So this is a box for a VHS tape. The VHS tapes goes at the bottom. Here's another box that goes on the side. Scotch came out with the same thing. So the plastic goes in like this, and that's how that's what happens. So the plastic, you can protect the entire cartridge this way. And here's another one that was sold, where the reels are larger. I've never come across any cartridges that have one reel bigger than the other reel, by the way. I don't think that would work well in a VCR. It would confuse it. But this is the one of the Maxell. Normally I would buy BASF if I went to Super VHS and I couldn't find my Super VHS BASF cartridge. But I did find the one that I have here, Maxell Super VHS. So they look the same, but the formulation for the tape is very different. And there's an extra hole here. And you can drill these extra holes. I've seen on YouTube people drill these extra holes on regular cartridges to fool the Super VHS machines to think that it is a Super VHS tape. So yes, this is meant to be used in a Super VHS machine. You can use them in a regular machine if you want. Now the time, well, it doesn't even say, but you know, it's 8 hours. You can record Super VHS ET on any tape, and it works especially well for this one. Well, for this one, the Super VHS would go into Super VHS mode to record the best possible. But on a regular tape, you could record in Super VHS mode, but it's not called that. It's called Super VHS ET. That mode is available on some Super VHS machines, like JVC came out, and it basically records on any cassette in Super VHS ET mode. but this one has the extra hole that I showed you a while ago. And so here's something interesting here. It looks like a regular cartridge. I'll just remove the plastic from it. It looks like a regular cartridge. But that's nice about it is that there's a hologram on it. Light sort of moves around. And the cartridge, as you just saw, is not the typical black cartridge. It's sort of bluish, kind of grey. And I thought that was sort of a nice touch to it, to make it, try to make it look a bit different. There isn't much you can do with VHS cartridges. For kids' movies, I've seen cartridges in white, yellow, red, maybe green, but I've seen some that have this flap over here green, or they have the reels green and the outside black, like I think the movie E.T. So this is interesting because you have this box that has a hologram on it, but when I bought the DVD version, it doesn't seem to have that. It's just a regular plain display. So I thought it was interesting. They could have put this feature onto the DVD version, but they didn't do that. And First Contact, I don't have it in DVD, but I have it in VHS. And there is a those line things that give off that changes the picture as you move it. I thought that was interesting. It's a piece of plastic that's on top of it here, and when you move it around, it moves the picture except for the other side. So that's not available on the so I don't know if this is available on the DVD version. So here is another movie here, Contact. Nothing unusual about this tape, but I noticed something interesting that that might be useful. Something, I don't know what. It might tell you when the recording was put onto the VHS tape, and this is what is displayed. So what's displayed is the time and the date and the letters CVC, and those and that only appears in between frames on the older TVs when you change the vertical hole. It's nothing important, but it is interesting just to. So here it says 1998, March the 1st, it looks like, or maybe January 3rd. That's the time. I have it on pause. So at the end of the of this movie Contact, this is what it says. Now I know this isn't important at all, possibly, but it's just something interesting that I see. So this is what is displayed at the end of the movie. Now it says 12/47/08. The date is still the same, but the time has changed. So now I've fast forward to the end of the tape, and that's what it says. So some movies has this display on it, and some write other stuff. I don't remember what now, but there's some movies that were writing certain words or phrases or a bunch of numbers. So I suppose this goes to the end of the recording. Oh, there it is. Alright, thanks for watching.